When we first get an autoimmune diagnosis, we have a lot to get used to. We have new doctors and medications, we're dealing with new symptoms, and of course, we're trying to figure out how to still build the life we want with this new diagnosis. Deciding when, how, and to whom to share your new diagnosis with is a whole thing, and the decision is very personal. One aspect of sharing your condition with others is the risk of opening yourself up to advice. Many people seem to feel compelled to share with you what they think about your health, and when it's coming from people we love, it can be confusing. So today, I want to talk about how to handle all the advice. How can you decide what you truly want, how to talk about it with your doctor, and how to let your friends and family know thanks, but no thanks. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Ortiz, and this is Connected Rheumatology. Let's get started. When you get a new diagnosis or start a new treatment, you quickly find out everyone's got an opinion. Even when shared out of concern or love, unsolicited advice can make us second guess our decisions, which can then snowball into a disorganized treatment strategy and ultimately leave us spinning in circles. It can almost be insulting, as if you haven't been up all night worried or gone down every rabbit hole on the internet when you found out about your new diagnosis. I know because I have seen thousands of people in this situation. Relieved to have found answers, but absolutely racked with fear about the future. This period of time is a tender moment, one marked by grief. Regardless of what diagnosis you are facing, just getting an autoimmune diagnosis, hearing those words and having that word now on your medical chart is life-changing. And like so many other life-changing events, grief for the life you had before can take hold. So why am I talking about grief, and what does it have to do with all the unsolicited advice out there? Well, because making space for that grief to breathe is vital for figuring out what your own goals and priorities are and integrating this new condition into your life. And the best way to know which advice to listen to and which to ignore is by knowing your own goals and priorities. Once you are clear on those, it will become a lot easier to filter out the noise. And by noise, I mean the shoulds. You should do this, you shouldn't do that. Everyone has seen an article or read about someone who did great with some sort of treatment and oftentimes feel compelled to share it with you. This is rarely done out of anything but love. Just like you, your friends and family are overwhelmed and only want to help. You are the one that has to find a way to integrate this into the life you want for yourself. And so you are the one that has to make the decisions about your health care. So let's talk about those conversations with our doctors. And to start, we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Sometimes, a lot of the time, our doctors and our appointments aren't super great at helping us filter out the noise. Whether it's due to lack of time or personality or a combination of both, we don't often get the space in our clinic appointments to, one, grieve, and two, really discuss the pros and cons of the various advice that's out there. We get 15 to 30 minutes, if you're lucky, to discuss lab results, your diagnosis, and then barely take a breath before we hand over a stack of prescriptions. There are aspects of this problem I can't change, unfortunately, but I have 3 steps for you that you can do that will help you have more productive conversations with your docs. Number 1, ask why. When we don't understand the why, the reason, or the strategy behind certain recommendations your doctor makes, it can make alternatives seem attractive. So every time you're given a prescription, a referral, or an order, simply ask your doctor why. What does this medication do? Are there alternatives? And if so, what are they? What do I risk if I don't take it? These are not crazy questions, and they aren't stepping on any toes, and your doctor should be able to answer them pretty easily. Every circumstance is different, and if there is some urgency, this may not be an option, but if possible, ask if you can schedule in some think about it time. So what do I mean by that? This simply means that instead of starting the medication or scheduling the test right away, you ask for some time to think about it and then reconnect with your decision. Now, the logistics of how this works is going to differ based on how the clinic is run and how busy it is. So it could look like you take the prescription, but let them know that you'd like to take 2 weeks to think about it, and you will send a portal message confirming if and when you've started it. Remember, it's always good for your medical record to clearly show when you started something. It could mean setting up a phone call or a virtual visit in a month to reconnect and continue the discussion about the recommendation. Again, if there's some urgency to that recommendation, you may be strongly advised to start right away, but for many cases, there is time for you to think about it. Number 2, look for support outside of your doctor's offices. Rheumatologists and our offices are not really equipped to provide the high level of mental and emotional support that many of those with autoimmune disease need. Yet, this is so important for gaining confidence and becoming clear in your own goals. Look for that support outside your doctor's office. This can be in the form of a trusted friend, a support group, or a mental health specialist. This can be the beginning of the team that you're building for yourself. Autoimmune diseases are multifaceted, and so they require a multifaceted approach, which is difficult to get from just one person. Start building your team. And number 3, bring outside ideas to your appointments. Remember, ultimately, you can decide what is right for you. But like I've said, it can take some time, trial and error, and many conversations with your doctors and others to really be clear on what is right for you. So you've got to start having those conversations. You don't want your doctor to just run the appointment show. Come with your own agenda and items you want to discuss. Make a list, whether it is something you found on the internet or something your cousin emailed you, and let your doctor know about it ahead of time. You can send your list to your doctor or their nurse via the patient portal a few days before your appointment, or just tell them at the beginning of the appointment that you have some things you want to make sure to discuss before the appointment ends. This helps them adjust their own flow so as to make sure that y'all have enough time to discuss your items. Some suggested questions to ask about different diets or supplements or other treatments that you can find online would be, have you seen people with my condition benefit from this? Even if there is no specific data proving it works, to your knowledge, is there a theoretical reason it might? And then what harm could this do to me? Remember, every treatment or intervention decision is an understanding of the risk and the benefit. So we've talked about giving yourself the space to figure out what's important to you, building a strong foundation of communication with your doctor, but what do you do if you keep getting unsolicited shoulds and shouldn'ts from loved ones? Obviously, you know your friends and family best, but there is nothing like a clear and strong boundary. So here are some examples. Thank you for reaching out. It means so much to know I'm in your thoughts. I'm feeling very confident in my plan with my healthcare team, and I'm going to stick to that for now. Thanks so much for thinking of me. I'll look this over and discuss it with my doc at my next appointment. And it's totally up to you if you actually do. Or try, when you keep sending me these articles or giving me advice, it makes me think you don't have confidence in my ability to take care of myself or make choices that are right for me. I'm so grateful to have someone like you who cares so much. And if I ever need your advice, I'll ask for it. Okay, so, take what you want from those examples, but you see the point. Acknowledge the love from which this help is coming, but be clear that you've got this, because you do. And finally, I want to leave you with some recommendations if you have a loved one who doesn't believe your diagnosis. This still blows my mind, but I know it happens. So first of all, let your doctor know. Let them know what exactly your loved one doubts and how it's impacting you. Are they asking too much of you at home? Are they belittling your need for rest? Any doc worth their salt will be appalled and offer to talk to them. And if they don't, well, just ask. Can I bring my XYZ family member to my next appointment? Or better still, make a special appointment so that you can talk about my diagnosis to them. If you're going to do this, make sure you and your doc are on the same page as far as what you want discussed and what you don't. But I have found this to be a very effective way to help the doubting loved one understand. And secondly, you can show them one of my videos. I've been doing this for a few years now and have amassed a hefty catalog of videos. And although I know there is still a lot more I can talk about, I'm getting everybody's recommendations and my list is very long, but do a search for your blood test or your condition and sit down with your loved one and watch the video together. It's a start and hopefully opens their eyes to what you're dealing with. The last thing we need to deal with when we have an autoimmune condition is other people's opinions. I hope this has been helpful and you've gotten some ideas on how to deal with that loving but annoying friend and how to start talking to your doctor about some alternatives you're interested in. Like I said, I have a library of videos to look through, but I recommend checking out this one on finding trustworthy online sources. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share and all those things, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.